While I've been cleaning the upholstery inside the truck cab, I've had the batteries disconnected, and yeah, now I think I'm done cleaning the stuff inside. So I was going to reconnect the batteries, and I figured I would clean the battery terminals, and now I'm kind of regretting that I didn't film what they looked like before, but I have cleaned them off, and they look pretty good now. The cables, they're not in great shape. But I think they're serviceable. The one thing that I noticed was this one, it was loose. So in addition to having all kinds of corrosion around, and this sort of that white powdery buildup all around here, I was able to just kind of move it with my hand, and yeah, that's not good. So when I put it back on after I cleaned it, I tried tightening it a bit, and I wasn't able to tighten it. So then what I noticed was that it's not going down far enough on the terminal, and that's, I think, what's causing this to be hard to tighten down. So it's like this is kind of, there's still a little gap there, but this nut right here isn't able to draw these things together anymore. So actually what I need to do is try to spread this out a bit so I can push it down, and then I think I'll be able to tighten it up. So what I think I'm going to do is take that terminal off. I don't have those special battery terminal spreader plier things, but I'm hoping I can, I'll take the bolt out of there and see if I can just spread the terminal open with with the screwdriver. So you can see all this corrosion that was still in here. Just trying to, I want to get this bolt out so I can spread this terminal open. This nut is all messed up. It's kind of rounded off from people not being careful in the past. So I got the bolt out. I just used this large screwdriver to kind of spread the terminal open, and now this is going all the way down on here. So I'm going to put the bolt back in and then see if I can tighten this up. I'm going to put some of this dielectric silicone paste on just to keep things clean. Okay, tighten this up, and this is super solid now. So it's just a little counterintuitive to think that you can't, if you can't tighten this, that you actually, and it's loose, that you actually need to spread it apart. But that's on there now, so it's I think I'm good. I'm gonna look at the other terminals on both batteries and get this all put back together. Right, got these terminals cleaned up and attached solidly. This one had this screw that was screwed down into here to try to get this terminal to stay on there. And really the problem was that it just needed to be spread apart and pushed farther down onto the battery. You know, these posts on the battery, they're cone, it's shaped like a cone. And so if you don't have this connector pushed all the way down onto the battery, you're going to have to tighten it so much more to try to get it to stay on there. And then, you know, these things are going to get too close together. This gets at a really weird angle that's like, you know, as it gets drawn in. So, yeah, I just spread these apart and pushed this all the way down, and then tightened it. This thing's on there solidly. And I had to do that for all 4 of the terminals on this truck, because there's 2 batteries. I am going to replace these bolts because they're pretty messed up, so I'm going to order some of those. But for now, this is good. The battery cables are reattached and hooked up the battery tender to top off the batteries. The truck's been sitting for, 3 months without running, so it probably needs a bit of a charge. And yeah, I think it's ready for me to drive. I got the seat back in there, and yeah, it's good. I just want to add, I am thankful to have a project like this to work on, and to have time to work on it, and the tools that I need to do something like this, and to be in a beautiful setting like this. I'm out working on the truck again this morning. Still dealing with the batteries. Had the battery tender hooked up and it was charging for a couple days and the red light never went off, so it didn't stop charging. And I think these batteries might be finished, but I figured I would disconnect the batteries and just try to charge one of them by itself to see if it'll eventually stop charging. Otherwise I'm going to go buy some new batteries. The other thing I'm going to do is replace these bolts on the battery cable terminals. These are all different, and you can see like this one has 2 nuts on it. This one has a single nut. These are the new bolts that I got, and you can see that the nut has this round kind of collar section here below the hex part, and the original ones have that too, but it's not as long. So what happens is when you tighten these, this starts to kind of, this is really close right here, you know, where you're putting the wrench on, and you end up digging the wrench into the soft lead. Okay, so you can see now with this in place, this the hex part right here, the nut it's spaced out a bit from there, so that's going to make that easier to tighten. We have this little succulent garden out here in front of our house, and we have this fox family that is super cute, but they have totally destroyed this garden. Yeah, it's kind of sad. Jenny has been planting these succulents for a while, and yeah, they're just pretty much dead, a lot of these. This side, there's a lot more plants over here, and it seems like they haven't been playing over here as much. It's doing a lot better.